What's the youngest you've ever fascinated about? What's the youngest age of girl that you've ever fascinated about?
I don't know, 6, 7.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to let you sit here and think about it, because I want to come back in and have you start telling the truth rather than sitting here and bullshitting us, all right? I'm going to call a spade a spade. You're lying to us, don't appreciate it, so you take a moment.
I'm trying to be truthful.
You're trying to be truthful. There's a difference between trying to be truthful and being truthful. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. When we come back, be truthful. Don't try, be.
Oh, man, I'm screwed.
Are you retired? Yeah, Michael. What did you do for work when you were working?
I worked heavy construction.
In a union or anything like that? So it's like heavy equipment or, okay. When did you retire?
About 6 years ago.
Okay. And were you still living in Oregon around that time?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been down here since you retired, pretty much?
No, I just moved here a year ago, February.
Okay. And you've lived in that address on Oasis ever since then?
I moved in May 1st, a year from last May.
So you had some time to think about things. You've never done anything like this before. But of course you have.
You know, for the last 10 years, with this high blood pressure, and I've been impotent now. My wife left me 10 years ago. Well, I was married to her 20 years.
What's her name?
Judy.
Judy Bailey?
I haven't seen her in 10 years, but I would think so.
Where's Haines, Oregon? Because you lived there for a while, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I lived there for 28 years.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do in Haines?
I had 15 acres up on Rock Creek. It's like, I had a little equestrian ranch up there.
What'd you do to get in trouble up in Haines when you got arrested?
In Haines?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Baker City is just 10 miles away.
Mm-hmm. That's all in, is that in Union County, Baker City?
No, it's Baker
That's in Baker County. Okay, well, what did you do in Union County?
In Union County, that was
Mm-hmm.
LeGrand.
But you were living in Haines, right? When you got in trouble in Union County.
Right.
What'd you do then?
Let's see, I was walking through a clothing store, and as a lady was trespassing me, I touched her on the backside. And that, I'll tell you, I don't touch people, but that time I touched her on the backside, and I didn't think I offended her, but I did.
See, Michael, we don't bring people in here and talk to them unless we've done our homework. So we know about that.
Okay.
We know about your indecent exposure. We know all of this stuff, Michael, so you can't come in and bullshit us.
Your domestic assault, kidnapping charge that you got, that was...
When you wouldn't let your wife call the police? Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one. And, doggone it, there's another situation that it got kind of turned around. I mean, they called it kidnapping. My wife said that she was going to take off, and she was going to go down to and spend the night at abused woman.
At a shelter?
Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And I never laid a hand on that woman, and I mean, we were getting along real well, but that was her way of dealing with it. And when she started to leave, I jumped into the driveway, and I really don't know why I did that. Because I really wanted her to leave.
What I'm hearing, Michael, is everything has really been turned around, and it's really not your fault. And remember the advice I gave you when you first came in here, is to take responsibility for your actions, and things will go a lot easier. Because the more we do this little dance, the more pissed off I'm getting. And I'm not going to be a very good dance partner for you very much longer. All right? You told us that you're looking for a woman your own age, yet you're in the little girls section. You're walking through Walmart, you leave home that morning, you put your blue gym shorts on, and you don't wear any underwear. And you did that for a reason, because I'd venture to say you have underwear on right now, am I correct?
Well, I was rather good.
Yeah. Until you decide that you want to come and expose your genitals, that's when you don't wear underwear, am I correct? Is that a fair statement or not?
Like I say, I haven't had any of those kind of desires at all. I've been...
Up until you decide to come to the Bullhead City Walmart, then you have those desires. Then you don't wear your underwear. Then you expose your genitalia.
Michael, you paint a picture like it's something that happens to you at the spur of the moment. And your actions on that day are completely contrary to exactly that. You were not just shopping, and you didn't feel a little tingle in your genitals, and you didn't feel like you had to rub on them or anything because of that. You came all the way to this Walmart for a reason. Okay? Because you could have done all that stuff you could have been shopping over at the Walmart in Havasu. So let's just cut the bullshit. You know what I mean? And the point I'm getting to is this kind of stuff, it doesn't just happen. You gotta work your way up to something like this. You know what I mean? Like, it starts somewhere, and it starts small. I know it. Okay? And then it gets bigger. You get bolder. You didn't just start touching yourself on that day in front of people. You worked your way up to it. And I'll venture to say that you've probably been doing it for a while, and you only got caught this time. So let's back up, because we want to understand. I want to understand. The courts are going to want to understand what drives a person to do something like that. And if maybe they have a little insight on what's going on in your head, it may help them when they make their decisions. It may help you. I don't know. So let's back up. Where does this start? How long has this been going on?
Well, I guess quite a while. I mean, it does, you know, it's like I was married for 20 years, and, you know, unfortunately that didn't work out.
What's your sexual preference, Michael? What do you prefer sexually?
I prefer females my own age. Not older, not younger, my age.
Okay. So then why the clothing section for the little girls?
Well, I'm not real sure about that. That kind of thing doesn't do anything for me.
Like I said, come on. You think telling me that and then what I've seen in these videos that even makes sense? Do you think I'm really blowing smoke up your ass? I'm telling you what I've seen in these videos. And that's not the only video. I got more. Okay? From the other times that you've gone in and done this. Okay? So that doesn't even make sense. It starts somewhere. There's a fascination. Okay? Am I wrong? Somewhere there's a fascination. It starts with the fascination, correct? So let's be honest. Tell me about that. Help me understand.
You know, for the most part, I feel like I'm a normal human being. You know, I mean, I do have a fascination.
Give me a little insight on that. What do you mean? Fascination? Tell me about the fascination.
Oh, I fantasize different things, and you know, it's not necessarily younger women. It's
You know, I can see the way girls look these days. You can't tell anymore how old they are.
yeah.
But I completely understand that the physiological attraction to something that's good looking. You know? So I'm not looking at you like you're a monster. I'm trying to understand what's going on. But in order for me to do that, you have to paint a picture for me. Now, I think we're getting close to the truth. I think there may be something going on with the younger girls. So let's just be honest with that. We're here now. We're here now. Let's deal with this. It's not going away until we deal with it. So
this is true. I do have a fascination with younger girls, but that's as far as it goes.
okay.
You know, I would never rape anybody.
And you know what? Let me just explain something. We're not talking about rape.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a little indecent exposure
Right.
claim. Okay, it's not the crime of the century. Okay, but we got to get to the root of the situation so that we can figure this out. So, tell me about this fascination. I mean, how old are we talking? What's the youngest?
What do you mean?
What's the youngest you've ever fascinated about? What's the youngest age of girl that you've ever fascinated about?
I don't know, 6, 7.
Okay.
But I don't, you know, I mean, over the last years, I've, you know, I'm getting away from all that.
And how many years are we talking? How long have you had? How long can you think back that you've had these kind of feelings or?
I guess back 30 years.
Okay. And would I've been pretty close by saying that it starts out small and it builds up to something like this? It's not like all of a sudden you went out and you started doing this kind of stuff. Where does it start? It starts from the fascination. We discussed that.
Right.
And then where does it go from there? Pictures?
No. No, never have gotten into any kind of child porn or any of those kind of things. And that's the God's truth. It's just
So if I went and
thing.
searched your house, I wouldn't find any child pornography or erotica or anything, pictures of little girls in underwear from the JCPenney catalog or anything like that? Okay.
No.
So this is a fascination yours that you've had for about 30 years.
Well, yeah, that'd be fair enough.
Okay. When you went into Walmart, let me just start off. When you went to Walmart on the 20th, okay, when you were wearing the blue shorts, and those pictures that I showed you, when your truck was in the parking lot, was that your intention for coming to this Walmart here to act on those fantasies?
Well, I was coming up to this area to go over to Izod's. That was my plan, and buy some slacks,
Okay.
in which I did. And the last time I was here, I also went up there trying to buy the same kind of slacks, the Izod golfing slacks. And they didn't have my size.
Okay.
But the first time I went in there, I bought 2 pair.
How many times have you exposed yourself or masturbated while watching a young female child in the last 30 years? More than 5? More than 10? Too many to count?
Oh, no.
Because you've never been caught, have you? This is the first time you've been caught, am I correct? Or have you been caught before?
No,
Okay, so this is your first time.
basically, yeah.
And so how many times would you say that you have fondled yourself or masturbated or exposed yourself in the last 30 years while you're fantasizing about girls from 6 years old on up?
Well, it's been a few times, but those feelings have been going away.
Okay, well, I'm glad that those feelings have been going away, but what's a few times? It sounds to me like if you're having to think that hard about it, it's too many times. Too many times, Michael?
It's just in the last 10 years, it's been very,
Okay,
very...
too many times, or how many times in the last 30 years that you have fantasized about little girls from the ages of 6 years old on up? How many times?
Well, 30, 40 times.
Okay. And did you do that in Oregon? I mean, because that's where you lived. How many times have you been to the Bullhead City Walmart and done this and not got caught until this time?
Twice.
Twice. Twice before you got caught?
No.
So this was the first time?
No, this is the first 2 times I've been there.
Okay. What about the Walmart or any other clothing store in Lake Havasu City? No. And the reason for that is you thought that you could come up here and not get caught because you drive a vehicle that doesn't have Arizona license plates on it.
Not necessarily. I normally drive my Saturn. My Saturn's...
Well, 2 times up here, though, you drove your pickup truck, right?
Right.
And that pickup truck does not have Arizona license plates on it, does it?
No.
So I think a reasonable person would say is that you thought you would never get caught because you're driving a vehicle that doesn't have Arizona license
Never
plates on
crossed
it.
my mind.
Really?
I always drive my Saturn.
No, you don't always drive your Saturn because at least on 2 occasions you drove your
I
truck.
know, because my Saturn, the first time it was down with plugged injectors, And then the second time, I thought I had plugged injectors again because it behaved exactly the same way. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do about it, so I parked it for 2 months.
So you drove your truck up here that has the Oregon plates on it?
I drove my truck. It's
Right.
the only vehicle that was running at the
Okay.
time. And
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and diagnose you. And you know what? I don't care about your childhood. I don't care about any of that. I want to know why you did what you did. And you know what? You're not manning up to it. You're saying you're blaming it on blood pressure and this and that, and your wife left you and blah, blah, blah. And so you know what? While you're talking here, all I'm hearing is blah, blah, blah. Because I've got a 3-year-old girl that I just interviewed that said that she never wants to see the bad man again. A 3-year-old girl that doesn't want to see the bad man. And you know what she said? She said, I hope the bad man goes to the Hooskow. You have changed that child's life. So, you've changed that child's life. 3 years old. 3 years old, and she doesn't want to see the bad man again. She doesn't want to go to Walmart with her mom anymore for fear that bad man is going to be in there. The bad man that had his gym shorts on with his cock and balls hanging out. Yeah. Because you know what, I'm at a point now where I'm not going to use nice terms or anything because you didn't care what a 3-year-old child saw. And her mother who saw it. And then after that, you go over into the girls section. You've got a problem. You've got a problem, and those feelings aren't going away. Because a month ago, you came and did the same thing that you've done 30 or 40 times previous to this. So, I'm discouraged that you won't take responsibility for your actions. Detective, I don't want to talk to him anymore.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this?
no,
Or say for yourself?
I'm just not sure what to say. I mean,
See, my concern is that even with us sitting here, and even with this going on today, that later on when you're out there, because remember I spoke about a progression. You started out fantasizing. You don't want to talk about the in-between. You say that there's no pictures. You say that you've never fantasized. I can't say that I believe you, okay? But you've definitely progressed. And you're skipping that point.
well, that's something I've never been into. I don't,
But you have,
You could tear my house apart and you'll never find anything like that, and I've never had anything
and you may be right.
like that around.
You may be right.
And,
But like I said, my concern is the progression.
yeah, well,
Okay, after a while, the fantasies don't become enough. So then you go out and you start going into the stores, and who knows what you've done between this and going out to the stores and doing what you do to yourself. And what's next? I mean, you're making it obvious,
in this
Michael.
last year, those are the only 2 times in this whole last year.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think that that's okay?
No.
So put yourself in an average person, a person that's not involved shoes, that sees that kind of stuff. Take yourself out of your shoes and put yourself in someone else's shoes, seeing you do what you do. What do you think should happen to a person like that?
I don't
Why not?
know. I just, I get so damn disgusted with myself over that.
So you know it's wrong, but you still do it. Is that correct?
Well, like I said, it's only twice in the last 14 months since I've been here.
Okay, but 30 times in the last, what do we say?
30 years.
30 years. Okay. But you still you didn't answer my question. Do you know that it's wrong?
Oh yes, I do.
but you've done it 30 times since. So you know it's wrong, but you continue to do it. It's deviant behavior. What's so exciting about doing something like that? Is there a level of excitement?
No, it's.
What do you get out of
That's
that?
why I don't understand why I do it, because, you know, I don't, there's no satisfaction in
Okay. So, I guess what I'm getting out of it is it's something that you're telling me that you can't help.
Well, I think I probably can. It's just, you know, I feel like I'm not, you know, that episode with the shorts hiked up. Now that was wrong. That was bad.
So were any of the 38 times right? Any of those 30 times that you did stuff like that?
But you know,
It's bad because why? Because you got caught?
No, it's because you know, I feel like I've you know, I mean, I'm covered up most all the time. It's just those blue shorts episodes that was crazy and wrong.
And it wasn't an accident. So don't try to paint that picture. You know it wasn't. Well, I think there's more to this, Michael, and
Listen, I've been impudent now for almost 10, 11 years, and you know,
but you know, okay, I get you trying to explain to me what's going on, but it doesn't have anything to do, just because you can't get your dick hard doesn't make it any more wrong that it's hanging out of your pants and you're beating on it in front of, and following little girls. And you're even to the point where you're reckless about it. You do it intentionally, and you're even reckless about it because you go out, you plan on doing this stuff, you go out and you do it, and you're so focused in on these little girls that you don't even see the other people around you seeing you do it. That's how intense in my mind, your fantasy is at this point. Okay? So I guess my question is, what happens next? What's the next step from here? And I'm not talking about from here, I mean for you in your fantasy. Give me a minute, okay?
I just, you know, this last month I joined the Desert Single Social Club. And there's no children there, not that they're my age.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the people I want to be around. And I want, you know, I have trouble meeting people, and, you know, this is what's happening. What my plan is next, you know, is to be more active. You know, I don't do bars. I don't, you know, do any of those kind of things.
All right, well, give me a second. I'll be back in, okay? Okay, we're gonna take a break. But, so that you know, Michael, you're gonna be charged with the indecent exposure. I'm gonna set you in a cell for a little bit, and then I got some things that I have to do involving this, because you're not allowed to leave, because now you're under arrest. You understand that? Okay? And then I'll come back and get you in a little bit, okay?
Okay, now what's gonna become of my car?
Where's it at?
It's parked out in the lot,
Okay, which one did you drive?
the Saturn.
The Saturn? Thought it had bad plugs.
I'm sorry?
Thought it had bad
Oh,
valves.
no, I thought it had, injectors were bad, and it turned out to be a bad plug wire.
Well, we'll worry about that when we get there. At the very worst, do you have somebody to come get it?
No.
Okay. The very worst, it would be towed to a yard. Max? Can you come get a gentleman for me, please, and set him in a cell?
Okay.
He's under arrest, but he does need his belt and whatever contents he has in his pockets.
Okay.
You go with booking officer Hardy, for me, please.
Am I gonna be able to bond out?
You'll have to see a judge first, but go with Max right now, and then,
And when will I be able to see the judge?
well, the sooner we get this done, maybe the sooner we can get you to see a judge, but at the very latest tomorrow. But, like I said, I got some stuff I gotta do.
Little black box on the floor down there, go ahead to that.
Thanks.
It's got a name or anything?
Yeah, Michael Bailey.
Michael Bailey.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
He should have his ID on him. Michael?
Yes.
We touched base on at least one event that you admitted to.
You remember your rights, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
We talked about when you went in, I showed you the pictures for May 21st. When you went in, when you were wearing the blue shorts,
Yes.
the pictures that I showed you, we talked about that. There was a second incident that we kind of touched on. When you went in later, it was, I believe it was, they said, man, that was April 21st. So you went in on the May 12th. And this is the incident, you may not have been aware of it, but you were being watched by loss prevention.
What is that?
Loss prevention is like their security for like shoplifting and all that stuff.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? And that's what I want to discuss with you. It sounds pretty much the same thing. You came to Walmart from Havasu. You went into the store about at about 1 o'clock. And there was a woman with a small girl in a cart. Do you recall that
Okay.
situation?
Mhm.
All right. Let's talk about that. Tell me about what you did that day.
That day?
Yeah. When you got to Walmart. Were you walking around, looking around like you said you were in the first incident?
Walking
What-
around. Basically,
Okay. So when do you see this lady and this little girl?
pretty much when I first walked in, I noticed those guys, some kind of a display. I don't know what the event was, what the season was, just seasonable items.
Okay. So were they the only, that lady and that little girl, were they the only couple that were in that area at the time, or were there more?
I think there was other people coming in. It was pretty much right at the entry of the store.
So what grabbed your attention about them?
girl that was between 5 and 10 in a shopping cart?
Well, she was, and, you know, she didn't even know I was there. And
You were by the beach towels, right?
I'm sorry?
You were by the beach towels?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Remember it now?
Yeah, I do remember the
Okay.
beach towels.
And,
What was, what is that, security business for?
what's this?
Or do they think I shoplifted or something?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
They recognized you from the first time that you came in
Oh, I see.
and did what you did when you touched yourself in front of that little girl. And then Grandma saw you in the wheelchair. Okay? They recognized you from that incident.
Oh,
So when you came in this time, they saw you and they watched you.
I see.
Okay? And so you're standing, and they watched you, and they said they saw you standing by the towels, watching this little girl and her mom. What were you doing?
Well, I was just walking around. I wasn't just standing there.
Okay, well, were you doing anything to yourself while you're watching this?
No, it was right there.
Michael?
No, I wouldn't touch myself thinking that there was anybody around watching.
Michael, we already went over the first incident. You were clearly doing that on film. You saw people doing it, or people saw you doing it the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're saying you didn't do it?
I'm saying that I probably did, but I just, you know, if there's somebody just standing there, I'm not going to be fondling myself.
You gotta be kidding me. I just got done talking to you in our last interview where you were following this little girl around, touching yourself. And you were so focused in on her, you couldn't even see the grandmother who was watching you do it. You remember that part of the conversation?
I guess I do the conversation. I don't remember the incident. I mean, I just don't remember.
Is it fair to say that you get tunnel vision when this stuff is going on?
I imagine.
Because you didn't see anybody around you watching you, but you also weren't aware that they have video surveillance inside of
Well,
Walmart?
yes, I am, and I guess I should. Well, I'll tell you what. I just that
You just get tunnel vision, right? You're seeing one thing and one thing only, and you forget about everything else that's going
guess,
on.
you know, because that was a pretty stupid thing to do right in front of video cameras for crying out loud.
Do you have children, Michael? Got a daughter, don't you?
How do you know that?
I told you, Michael, we don't talk to anybody without doing our homework. You got a daughter that's about, what, 42, isn't she?
That could be right.
Mm-hmm, it is. What would you say if I told you that we talked to Judy up in Boise?
Oh no.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
It's just that she's just going to make you know, things miserable for me.
You haven't been married to her for 10 years. How could she make things miserable for
Oh,
you?
you know, I mean, that's all she needs is something to hear something like this, and you know, that's not going to make my life go too well. Sure.
What do you think she would tell us?
Oh, I don't think she told me. I can't imagine because we had a good relationship, a healthy relationship, basically.
Why did it end?
Huh?
Why did it end?
Well, she claimed that I was a workaholic and that I didn't know how to have fun. And she became a born-again Christian, and she just carried it to an extreme. And so eventually, you know, she had to go her way and I had to go mine.
Your fascination with prepubescent girls didn't have anything to do with the...
Now, she used to
Demise
give me
of
a
the
hard time
relationship?
about having an eye for a pretty girl walking by.
A pretty 6-year-old or
A what?
a pretty 6-year-old girl, or
No.
did you ever share that, those fantasies with your wife?
No.
Did you ever share any of that with your daughter?
You know, Judy might have said something about my daughter. I've told her what I know about my daughter. My daughter and I don't know each other. And never have. And as far as my daughter knows, I don't even exist. She thinks her father is somebody else. And
Is Judy not your daughter's mother?
no. No. Judy had, she had 4 kids, and the oldest one that actually her mother raised was living on the streets of Reno, Nevada, and he was an Aryan Nation gang leader, and he got into quite a bit of trouble and spent quite a few years in prison down there.
Did you live up in Reno area when Judy lived up there or not?
No. Anyhow, she asked me one day if I wanted to go save a life. And I said, sure. So we went to Reno, skip up in Reno, and drove him back to my ranch. And
How many times have you gone to the Walmart in Lake Havasu and done this same thing?
No.
No? Okay, so you just pick our fair city.
Why here? Why Bullhead?
I was just, get out of town for a while, and it's a nice roll up here, and, I go over to Laughlin, to the outlet center.
You ever do any of this, any of those clothing stores over there? I know they got a kid clothing store over there. Just Walmart here? Or is there any other place?
I behave 99% of the time.
Well, it's that other 1% that's going to put you in prison.
In prison?
Go ahead and share with him, detective.
Looking at 7 felony counts of sexual indecency in public sexual indecency.
7.
Account for everybody that can be identified that was around at the time that you were doing this stuff. We got plenty of names. Plenty of people who saw you. Plenty of people who chose you picked you out of lineups.
The woman and her child that were in the seasonal item, that you were standing there near the beach towels fondling yourself, those are 2 victims. The woman and her 3-year-old child in the dairy aisle, those are 2 more victims.
The old lady and her granddaughter, those are 2 more victims. And then there's the loss prevention clerk who actually saw you with his own eyes, and then later on video and saw the whole act.
So this means I'm going to probably go to prison, huh?
You know what?
Have you ever done anything?
I'll do anything I can do to put you in prison. I'll tell you that right now. Because you have something that's not right with you. For a grown man to sit and say that he fantasizes about 6-year-olds, 6 to 10-year-olds, that's sexually deviant behavior. And after we interviewed the 11-year-old victim again this morning, another interview with her, and she told me in Detective English that she is afraid of you, that she has nightmares about you, and she was afraid that you were going to grab her and do God knows what to her. You know what? My heart goes out to these victims. And unfortunately, and maybe I'm calloused, but my heart does not go out to you, because when I have a 3-year-old child telling me about the bad man. 3-year-old child shouldn't know about bad men right now. And you've obviously put yourself in this position, and so it's my goal, even though this is Detective English's case, it's my goal to make sure that you do go to prison and to hopefully make you register as a sex offender, because I think that we grabbed you at the tip of the iceberg. You were
Working your way up to do
one
more bad
step
things.
away
Oh,
from
no.
touching a child.
No, I would.
When you sit and fantasize about 6-year-old
No, I
female
don't.
children, that is
I don't sit and
sexually
fantasize.
deviant behavior. You told us 30 to 40 times you've done this.
Over,
And I know that-
over my whole life.
For 30 years is how long you said you've been
Right.
fantasizing. And so I can
You've
tell
acted
you,
on it.
by 30 or 40 times, you've minimized it at least half. So, Michael, you know what? I try and have compassion for people that have problems. I really do. You know what? I can understand somebody that murders somebody else. I can't understand a grown 65-year-old man fantasizing about a 6-year-old child. That just does not register with me. I don't understand it. I can't understand it. And
You said it wasn't the end of the world.
Well, Michael-
End of the world for me.
Well, Michael, listen, it's not just the fact that you're fantasizing about this stuff. I mean, that part's bad in itself, but it's the fact that, I've discussed with you the progression of this whole thing. You've progressed to the point where you've been acting on it for the last 30 years. You have.
Oh,
You admittedly say you have.
It's getting.
I don't know where in your mind.
Unless,
So we
for
should,
the last 11 months, I had two days.
so do you think a guy who does what you do should be able to just wander around in society, walk around in Walmart?
I think, it's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. I
do
agree.
you have any tattoos or anything on your arms or upper body?
No,
Why do you always wear a long sleeve shirt?
skin cancer.
You don't worry about skin cancer on your legs?
No. No, I worked for 35 years out in the
And obviously you don't worry about skin cancer on your penis because you have that coming out of your shorts, right? So it's just on your arms? Don't tell me to come on. You're the one that's running around Walmart with your penis hanging out of your shorts. Don't...
And the thing that gets me about this, Michael, is it's wrong, but yet you continue to do it. And even though you say in your mind, and all you've been doing with us this whole time is minimizing everything. You've been trying to make everything so small when you know it's not.
Well, the deal is I've been here 13 months, and I had 2 days that you witnessed, and that.
And in 2 days you racked up 7 felony counts. So, you know what? You can't minimize this and put it on everybody else, because I'm going to tell you what, a 6-year-old girl or a 3-year-old girl does not flaunt themselves in front of you. This 11-year-old girl that you followed around, that you were within 8 feet of, picking up clothes when she turned around and looked at you, and she saw you fondling your penis on multiple occasions in one short trip to Walmart for her. And you know what? She doesn't want to go back. She doesn't want to go back. And you told him that he's not welcome back, right?
No, yeah, but I'm sure he
Yeah.
knows by now you're going to
I'm sure
get trespassed from
yeah,
Walmart,
well.
and that probably means every Walmart on the face of this planet, because that's usually how it works.
And you know what? Honestly,
You should be-
we don't even want you back in Bullhead City.
Okay.
You know what? Stay in Lake Havasu. If you got to go show your penis to people, then you know what? Do it at home. Don't bring
If I
that
could
kind
go-
of activity here to our city.
Okay.
We pride ourselves in keeping this city a safe city.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're bringing badness to our city
Okay.
because a
I
3-year-old
apologize.
told us
I'm sorry.
that a bad man was here. So,
All right, Michael.
So 7 counts.
7
against
class
me.
5 felonies.
7 class 5s.
And how long in prison would that be?
It's, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Are they gonna let me go home before?
I don't know. That's up to the judge. You'll go over the hill, you'll be booked into Kingman Jail, County Jail, and you'll be held until at least the morning. You'll see a judge.
Oh, you mean, I'm not gonna stay here tonight?
No, this isn't a holding, this is only a temporary holding facility, it's a processing facility.
How am I gonna get my car?
You'll go back up to, well, you can either leave it locked up in the parking lot, which I don't know when you're gonna get out, and if it sits there for so long, eventually it's gonna be towed. So, either that or you can find somebody who can come and get it for you.
What about getting, I feel like if I'm gonna have any kind of chance of life at all, I'm gonna have a lawyer.
If you want a lawyer, there's phones there, there's phone books, you can call an attorney. It's been your option this whole time. So, they will provide free counsel for you. If you can't afford it, I mean, that was explained to you in your Miranda rights. But that's where we're at. I mean,
I can't believe that.
you got to keep it in your pants, Michael. That's all. You got to control yourself.
Yeah,
All right, man.
said it was the end of the world, and it is.
Well, I mean, believe it or not, there's even worse out there. Here, take that and give that to Maxine.